Hi everyone, I'm John C. Morley, the host of the JMOR Tech Talk Show and Inspirations for Your Life. Hi, it is John C. Morley here, serial entrepreneur. Great to be with you guys today on another JMOR Tech Talk Show. Can you believe, ladies and gentlemen, that we are on show number, let me tell you what it is, because I'm sure you guys are curious. Show number, I'll find it here for you. Show number 9. Can you believe that? Show number 9. And I cannot believe that we are at show 9 already. We're in series 3, and we have just a great show for you guys tonight. It's absolutely, when I say amazing, it is absolutely amazing. So definitely stay tuned. I know this one is a little bit late because, you know, we were a little bit crazy with things happening. And I think I told you I had a show that I was one of the leads in. So that's why this is a little bit late. So anyway, let's get off. I want to thank you for tuning in. This is February 29th show. I know March, actually, it's actually going to be, it's actually going to be, March 1st show, actually. Sorry about that. March 1st show. And tomorrow will be March 8th. So let's get right into this, shall we? All right. So when we think about, technology, and we think about all the great things that technology, can do for us, I think sometimes we get lost in what can be and what is reality, right? I think that comes up for a lot of people that they don't understand why something is a certain way, right? They just don't understand like what's going on. And I think the reason people don't understand is because they just don't know, or they have their own agenda on them, right? So I think we have to understand that it's something that we need to embrace, and technology is always changing, and we're going to have a lot more to talk about when it comes to chat GPT and stuff like that, and other AI generative programs, which are basically generators. So I think that's going to be, a really cool thing. And I'm going to explore a lot about this because I think a lot of people don't understand that, chat GPT is basically a large language model. So we will definitely dive more into that, ladies and gentlemen. And so what I want to share with you today is some really cool stuff that came out. And the one I want to share with you right now is Unlocking the Future of Security with MIT's Terahertz Cryptographic ID tags. This is something that is pretty amazing. And you might be saying, John, what the heck is this? Well, it's pretty cool because when we think about technology, and we think about where it is, and we think about how it's evolved, you would think about something like this out of a sci-fi book, but it really isn't. The future of security with MIT is pretty amazing, and it's very, very bright, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, a few years ago, MIT invented cryptographic ID tags, and it's several times smaller and even cheaper than the traditional radio frequency RFID tags. And they're affixed to products to verify authenticity, to track them and things like that. And it's a tiny tag, and it's been improved over the RFID. Again, it's the cryptographic ID tag. And so basically it's a terahertz. That's terahertz. So people always ask me, John, what is a terahertz? Or when I use these words, they're like, what is that? Like, what does that mean? So 1 terahertz is 1 E plus 12. That's the nomenclature of it. So a terahertz radiation, known as a sublimeter radiation, is higher in frequency than the T-rays, T-waves, T-light, T-luxes, or even THCs, and it consists of electromagnetic waves within the ITU designated band of frequencies from 0.3 to 3 terahertz. And it's in the upper boundary, so that you guys know that. But I think the biggest thing that I find really interesting about this whole, process is that it's going to change things quite a bit. A counterfeiter could peel the tag off a genuine item and reattach it to a fake, and the authentication system would be none the wiser, right? So it's a security vulnerability. So there has to be a way to make it so that it will be required and it can handle tampering, right? So researchers have been going over this for years and years, and now enhanced security with the terahertz waves is really cool. So they mix microscopic metal particles into glue that sticks the tag to an object. Let me say that again. So they mix microscopic metal particles into the glue that sticks the tag to an object, and then use a terahertz wave to detect the unique pattern those particles form on the item. And similar to a fingerprint, the random glue pattern is used to authenticate the item. So it's pretty cool. It's really a marvel jump in electrical engineering. I think it's pretty cool. And so after passing through the tag and striking the object surface, the terahertz waves are reflected or backscattered to a receiver for authentication. And it's impossible to duplicate this. So this is definitely going to, safeguard us from the typical things like RFID tags. And because a terahertz tag is so cheap, it can be implemented through a massive supply chain. It's very small. And it allows us to attach it to items that were too small for traditional RFID tags, such as certain medical devices. And the paper, which will be presented at the IEEE Solid State Circuits Conference, is a collaboration between Hans Group and the Energy Efficient Circuits and Systems Group of Anahana P. Chandrasekhar, MIT's Chief Innovation Strategy Officer. So innovations in the tamper prevention. So the research project was partly inspired by Hans' favorite car wash, and the business stuck an RFID tag in the windshield to authenticate his car was in the membership. Well, for added security, the tag was made from fragile paper, so it would be destroyed if a less than honest customer tried to peel it off and stick it on a different windshield. Okay, but that's not a terribly reliable way to prevent tampering. So, for instance, someone could use a solution to dissolve the glue and safely remove the fragile tag, and then the authenticating the tag, a better security system to authenticate the item itself. So that really isn't the best way. So terahertz waves are small enough to detect particles, whereas larger radio waves would not have enough sensitivity to see them. That's pretty cool. And so using a terahertz waves with a 1 millimeter wavelength allows researchers to make a chip that does not need a larger off-chip antenna. And after pissing through the tag, striking the object surface, the terahertz waves are reflected or backscattered back. Of course, this is going to bring lots of possibilities. And you'll be able to take an initial reading of an anti-tampering tag once it was stuck onto an item, and then those data in the cloud, using them later for verification, could tell if the tag was monitored or changed or whatnot. It's modified. So I think that is really, really cool. So this is something I want to talk about here today. The next thing I want to talk about is really cool. Exploring recyclable water batteries. What the heck is a recyclable water battery? I mean, this sounds like something like from another world or something, right? It sounds like something really, really, really crazy. And so, what does it mean when we talk about that? I think the biggest thing that it means is that, we have impressive capacity and the extended lifespan, right? But the lifespan of scientists inventing recyclable water batteries that are not going to catch on fire. See, this is pretty cool. So they've developed these innovative water batteries that offer a safe, recyclable alternative to lithium-ion batteries for large-scale energy storage. And they use an aqueous metal. Ion batteries use water instead of a flammable electrolyte. That's pretty cool. And it prevents fire hazards. So this is really amazing. Now, the project's success is underpinned by global collaboration and industry partnerships. So it's interesting to see what they're going to do with this. And the simplicity of manufacturing in the process for their water batteries can help make mass production feasible. And I think what's interesting about this is that they can be produced at a lot less of a cost, and they're going to be more environmentally friendly. I think that is really cool. You know, when we start making products that are actually environmentally friendly, I think that is an amazing, amazing thing. Really, really amazing. I mean, did you ever think that we would have batteries that would have an extended life, and then, you know, have the ability that they wouldn't be able to catch on fire? I mean, I think that's just remarkable. You know, the energy storage and life cycle potential is going to change. And the team has even made a series of small-scale trial batteries for numerous peer-reviewed studies to tackle various technological challenges, including boosting energy storage, capacity, and even lifespan. So this is pretty remarkable. And I want to quote something they said, quote, "Our batteries now last significantly longer, comparable to the commercial lithium-ion batteries in the market, making them ideal for high speed and intensive use in real-world applications. With impressive capacity and extended lifespan, we've not only advanced battery technology, but also successfully integrated our design with solar panels, showcasing efficient and stable renewable energy," close quote. So I think this is definitely the right thing, right? So the question you might be asking is, when will water batteries be on the market? Well, you know, that's a great question. Um, they're cheaper, they're recyclable, and again, they won't explode. Um, and they stay cool under pressure. That's another cool, real thing, right? But they're not going to be on the market quite yet. So greener type batteries that are going to be more environmentally friendly, I think that is like something that is so amazing, right? So let's talk about the magic behind the true one-way glass. It's a breakthrough in optical metamaterials. I think this is like, you know, the bee's knees, if I may say so myself. It is, like I said, it is the bee's knees, which is kind of a saying. It's really cool, right? You know, when we think about the fact that, you know, that we can have a one-way glass and, you know, a breakthrough in now optical metametals. I mean, I think this is just like, I think this is something that, you know, people have been waiting for, but it's not something that was expected. Okay. I think it's great that they're coming out with a lot of these, you know, a lot of these types of, I should say, technologies. But the question is, ladies and gentlemen, are they going to be efficient to produce? You know, are people going to go for them? And research has put a lot of effort into this. Okay. It's a new approach, and it's allowed researchers at the Aalto University to create a kind of metamaterial that is beyond the reach of existing technologies. Unlike natural metals, metametals, and metaservices, it can be tailored to have specific electromagnetic properties, which means scientists can create materials with features desirable for industrial applications. This is going to be a game changer, right? We have the non-reciprocal magnetoelectric field, and the new metamaterial takes advantage of non-reciprocal magnetoelectric effect, NME. So the NME effect implies a link between specific properties of the metal, its magnetization, and of course, polarization. So I think this is going to be really cool. And, you know, the applications on this are going to be amazing, right? But I think as we start to realize that products out there need to be made better so that they're more sustainable for the environment, right? And it's basically, when I say a one-way glass, I think this is like amazing. So a one-way glass where you could look one way and the other side would be blocked. So we think about things like, the police drama, right? They have one-way glasses in the real world. Of course, one-way glass is a hallmark of police dramas, where it is regularly employed to protect the identities of witnesses picking through a lineup of would-be suspects in real life. Now, still, there are a number of much more practical uses for a glass that is transparent on one side and perfectly reflective on the other. Some involve improving harvesting of energy, but may simply involve the desire for privacy that drives fictional one-way glass, maybe in police stations or other places or offices. So let's just take one of their quotes. Quote, just imagine having a window with that glass in your house, office, or car, says Shadi Safai Jazi, a doctoral researcher at Al Atal University and one of the scientists behind the exciting research. So I think this is what's going to make our world better, when we can figure out how to create new products with what we already have in our world. And I think that is just like, that's a game changer, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, it truly is a game changer, because if we can know that we can use something, and based on that information, we're going to be able to create something new or make something better. So when we think about, a metamaterial and the NME breakthrough, the Alto University researchers say they have succeeded in breaking through both of these barriers. And the result, okay, is the first ever design of an optical NME metamaterial that can be created with existing technology using conventional materials and nanofabrication techniques. That's cool. So the promised benefit is privacy. Researchers say that one-way glass creates this with the metamaterial design, and it could be placed on top of existing solar panels to capture more of the reflected heat energy that is lost within many designs. And it could also help your favorite cable crime fighters finally ID the slippery suspect once and for all. So I think when we start to realize, what I want to think about when I say this, let's think about this almost similar to the AI language model, which I'm not going to go into deeply, but the AI large language model is a model of language, and then it can basically pull upon that. Think of it like a large database, and it has instructions about certain ways that words go together and how to use things. So I think that is something that is, I'm going to say, remarkable, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, very, very remarkable. I know when we think about technology, everybody always wants the latest and greatest. But what I want to share with you, like, for example, Wi-Fi 7 routers, okay? They're not cheap right now, right? A Wi-Fi 7 router right now is out, okay? And you can buy it. You can buy the new Wi-Fi 7 from Netgear, things like $1,700. Now that's their mesh system. You could buy their non-mesh system for basically about 900 some bucks. That's pretty cool, ladies and gentlemen, right? But here's the interesting thing about this. Here's the real interesting thing. When we think about a Wi-Fi, let's say Netgear, for example, when we think about this, you have to make sure that you have technology that's going to be able to handle a Wi-Fi 7 router. I mean, I think that's really what we're trying to say here, right? So Netgear has this really cool tower that is 7 Wi-Fi. And although a lot of people are like, this is a lot. So it's $700, ladies and gentlemen, for a Netgear Nighthawk BE 19000, a tri-band Wi-Fi router block, really sexy piece of equipment. And, it's going to really change the way internet is done. I'm not going to get into all Wi-Fi 7 because we've talked about that before. But to give you an example, it's going to have 4 ports on it. It has the LAN port on it. So it has lots of different ports, just like other routers have had. But I think the biggest thing that I'll notice is, you have the 1G port, which we've seen before. And these routers are coming standard, ladies and gentlemen, with the 10G ports. So remember the old routers, we could only get 2G out of it. It has a 4G LAN right now. I'm just looking, and it looks like the 4G LAN, that's a pretty cool. You got 4 ports. So, you've got your 1G LAN and a 10G LAN. So it looks like you've basically got, on this one, you've got 2 10G. So you got one 10G LAN, you got a second 10G LAN. That's a lot of information. That is like a lot. And I have not gotten one of these yet, but I will be getting one soon. So I will be sharing with you my thoughts. But remember, when you get a Wi-Fi 7 router, you're not going to be able to just use it out of the box. You're going to make sure, when I say use out of the box, you're not going to get the benefit of Wi-Fi 7 versus Wi-Fi 6. So let's just compare. So what is the difference between Wi-Fi 6 and Wi-Fi 7? What's really the difference? Well, there are some differences, okay? And I'm going to try to highlight them, briefly. So we remember Wi-Fi 6, known as the 802.11ax standard, and it was a big deal. It was the first new Wi-Fi revision in 5 years. Then the previous Wi-Fi was 802.11ac, which is the 5 gigahertz, 802.11n, right? Remember that. But what is it that we get with Wi-Fi 7? Like, we know Wi-Fi 6, which was really, really pretty cool. But what are we getting? So Wi-Fi 7 was recently approved, and it's now available in devices. And Wi-Fi 7, or I should say Wi-Fi 6E compares to us in that you might want to hold off replacing your current Netgear router because there might be some changes. The Wi-Fi 6E was where we were, and then compared to the Wi-Fi 7. So Wi-Fi 7 is also known as the 802.11be. That is Boy Edward. So you have 802.11ac, right? Now you have the 802.11be, Boy Edward. And it supports 2, 4, 5, and 6 gigahertz bands, just like Wi-Fi 6E. But its biggest selling point is that it's extremely high throughput, okay, which is called EHT, extremely high throughput. And it will allow Wi-Fi 7 routers to reach speeds, listen to this, ladies and gentlemen, 46 gigabits. You heard me correct. And another big advantage of Wi-Fi standards right now is that over existing ones is that it will have multi-link options to significantly increase throughput while reducing latency. Nobody likes latency, especially when you're streaming a game or watching a movie. Now, traditional Wi-Fi devices use just a single link to transmit data, but Wi-Fi 7's multi-link MLO technology makes it possible for devices to simultaneously send and receive data across different frequency bands and channels. Now, if you're looking for the fastest experience, Wi-Fi 7 is 4.8 faster than Wi-Fi 6E. The battery life of your smartphone, laptop, and other connected devices will likely also see an increase due to Wi-Fi 7's new restricted target wait time. So there's going to be some benefits. Wi-Fi 7 looks to top with a 320 megahertz channel and be available on the 6 hertz band. And this is double the maximum channel bandwidth of the 5 and 160, which is almost 4 times the 83 megahertz of the channel bandwidth available for the entire 2.4 gigahertz spectrum. So pretty cool. So the question right now is, should you buy a Wi-Fi 7 router or wait? Well, the thing is this. First of all, do you have equipment in your house that can handle it? Or not, right? And it's always backwards compatible. So there is trouble with Wi-Fi 6E. If you need a better understanding, you'll note that Wi-Fi 6 and 6E is basically like the precursor to 7, but it's not really fully 7. And we relied on 2.4 and 5 for all our Wi-Fi needs, and Wi-Fi 6 opened up to the 6 gigahertz spectrum, okay, for the first time. But there are restrictions in place that limit its performance, which is why we're now having Wi-Fi 7. Wi-Fi 7 is going to give us 2.4 gigahertz, 5 gigahertz, and 6 gigahertz as a 6E. So you may wonder, what the heck is the big deal? Well, there are a few reasons that Wi-Fi 7 is better. First, there's an increase from 160 megahertz to 320 megahertz. That's huge channels as the maximum channel width. That gets you double the throughput with a theoretical data rate of 30 gigabits per second. 30 gigabits. Wow. And with the Wi-Fi standards up to including 6E, your device connects to a single band. At close range, it might connect to 6 gigahertz and then hand off to 5 gigahertz as you move away from the router, and eventually switch to 2.4 as you move further off. So the final piece of this is the availability of the standard power. Wi-Fi 7 routers will be allowed to use more power to boost the 6 gigahertz signal, expanding its range significantly, and doing this because of automated frequency coordination, or what we call AFC, automated frequency coordination. So AFC makes calculations based on device location, and they cross-reference data of microwave links in the area to tell the router which channels are available. So it's really pretty cool. And I am definitely going to get a Wi-Fi 7 router probably within the next week or two. And so perhaps if you are on a Wi-Fi 6, skipping Wi-Fi 6E and saving to upgrade within the next couple of years as the Wi-Fi 7 rolls out, which it's doing now, is a smart move. Just going to Wi-Fi 6E, is good, but you don't get the full, you only get the 160. You don't get the full 320. So I think that's a real game changer, ladies and gentlemen, is that you're going to get the 320. I mean, I think that's probably the biggest thing, 160 to 320. I mean, that's like so huge. All right, the last point I want to talk about on the show today is charging quickly and lasting longer. Scientists have developed batteries that require less rare materials. Well, this is kind of awesome, right? But what does this all mean to a consumer? Because I know a lot of this stuff can get, you can get very lost in, why things are going on, and what are they developing, right? What's really going on? And I think scientists are starting to realize that we can make things better. We don't have to reinvent the wheel, but we can make things better. Well, that sounds like an interesting, plausible thing, John, but how is it that we make things better? So in order to have Wi-Fi 7, even Wi-Fi 6, you have to make sure your device supports it. Now, many of the new laptops will support it. The question people ask me, John, is my Apple iPhone, let's say 16 Pro Max, Wi-Fi 7? And so it basically, the 16 Pro Max is the first Apple device to support Wi-Fi 7. That's pretty cool. So I've already got one device that supports Wi-Fi 7. It means it's going to be time before more users get to experience this. But I think it's definitely cool. And I think we have to know that when we're buying technology, that we are buying it for Wi-Fi 7. So researchers at the TU Delft have created a battery that uses fewer critical materials, changes rapidly, holds a significant amount of energy, and has a longer lifespan. So it uses fewer critical materials, charges rapidly, holds a significant amount of energy, and has a longer lifespan. So I think where we're trying to go is create technology that is going to make a difference. Okay. And if we can do that, then I feel that's really amazing, right? We have to understand what it is that we're doing. And if we don't understand it, then we need to realize what's going on, right? And so as you think about, whether it's Wi-Fi 7 or where we have, you always have to make sure that what you have is going to support what it is that you're using. So the question I get from people is Wi-Fi 7 backwards compatible? So that's a great question. So Wi-Fi 7, is Wi-Fi 7 compatible with, let's say, like Wi-Fi 6? And so, yes, The new standard is backward compatible with Wi-Fi 6 devices as well as the Wi-Fi 5, which you remember the 802.11ac. So you had the 802.11ac standard, which was Wi-Fi 5, right? And then you have Wi-Fi 6, 802.11. You remember that one? So the Wi-Fi 6 is another standard, right? We said this before. So Wi-Fi 6 is the 802.11ax standard. Okay, so you had the AC for the 5, you have the AX for the 6, and what is 7 now? What is 7? So 7 is the 802.11BE. That's Boy Edward. So again, you had the AC standard, you had the AX standard, right? So first we started off with Wi-Fi 5, which was the 802.11a. That was the 802.11ax. If you go to Wi-Fi 6, which is becoming popular now, right? So you have AC, and Wi-Fi 6 is 802.11ax, and now you have Wi-Fi 7. So AC, AX, and Wi-Fi 7 actually brings us all the way up to 802.11 Boy Edward. I don't know about you, but I think that's fascinating. And I know what you're probably saying to me, John, but technology keeps changing. Yeah, it does. Just to run your own chat GPT, which we'll talk more about that on another show. But so how much resources do you need to run your own chat AI? Well, you can use anywhere from 8 gigs on up. And here's the thing. If you do not have a NVIDIA card with the right technology, then it's going to use all of your memory to do everything. I mean, I think that's pretty cool. And I love what they did with the Wi-Fi 6 routers, and they put everything they put the antennas on the side. So where are the antennas in Wi-Fi 7 Netgear router? So what they try to do is make everything more internal, right? So the antennas are basically all on board. They're all inside. So again, Wi-Fi 5, Wi-Fi 6, okay, and then Wi-Fi 7. So Wi-Fi 7 is meant to be a very stable Wi-Fi. And it's going to give you not only 4K, but it's going to give you amazing 8-key streaming. So I think there's a lot coming, and you're going to get real-time gaming, augmented reality, virtual reality entertainment. So I think where we're going is amazing. You're going to get UHD conferencing. So what is UHD conference? So these are all these acronyms, right? So UHD conference standard is in Wi-Fi 7, right? So when we think about, let's say, a standard like UHD or things like this, ultra high definition, we have to realize that when they give us a number, it's not the number that might be what we get, because they always give you the best case numbers, which are always done from the lab. They're not really, phenomenal numbers, right? So thinking about Wi-Fi 6, Wi-Fi 7, the question is, will my new laptop have Wi-Fi 7? So there are certified devices, and as of January 14, 2024, you will start noticing that, yes, you can have devices with Wi-Fi 7 in it. So like I said, I'm really excited to get my Wi-Fi 7 router. I get a new router about every 4 or 5 years, but this is going to be a game changer. I mean it. So I already told you that 6 was AX. The 6E was still AX, right? AC was 5. Wi-Fi 7 is 802.11be. You still got 160 hertz in the channel range on 6 and 6E, but it went to 320 on the Wi-Fi 7. You had 1200 megabits per second on the Wi-Fi 6, 1200 on the E, but guess what you get on Wi-Fi 7? 20 400 maximum bandwidth per stream. Per stream. Now, theoretical maximum data is 9.6 gigabits on Wi-Fi 6. 6E, same thing. Wi-Fi 7, ladies and gentlemen, 46 gigabits per second. Oh my gosh. You have advanced modulation. You had 1024 QAM on the Wi-Fi 6 and Wi-Fi 6E. On the Wi-Fi 7, ladies and gentlemen, you have 4K QAM. That's incredible, right? That is incredible. QAM is basically quadrature amplitude modulation. We pronounce it QAM. And it's a method in which data is attached to radio frequency waves to transmit information to receiving devices. So it's a method in which data is attached to radio frequency waves to transmit information to a receiving device. So if you're on the fence about, should I upgrade to Wi-Fi 7? I hear you. So it's faster Wi-Fi. We know that. It's better throughput. We know that. There's going to be less congestion. Okay. Support for Wi-Fi 7 devices like your iPhone 15 Pro Max. Future-proof your Wi-Fi. When you upgrade to Wi-Fi 7, you will future-proof your Wi-Fi network for a long time. Every time there's a new Wi-Fi generation to upgrade to, this is what you'll hear. And the good news, if you're trying to find out about Wi-Fi 8, well, don't panic. Wi-Fi 8 isn't expected to launch until 2028. So you got 4 more years, roughly, a little less than 4 years, right? But I think as we start to appreciate technology and see where it's going, that's how we can decide, if we're going to early adopt. Now, the question I was trying to answer for people, because people said to me, why is it that mainstream devices are less money in tech? Well, technology is not getting cheaper, okay? But there are some cases where some things get cheaper, right? We know that people are starting to consume more technology, right? Mainstream Wi-Fi is cheaper than newer, right? And it's because it hasn't been, that populated, right? And I feel that if you understand that you are right here now, the biggest thing I want to share with you is that if you go get yourself a Wi-Fi 7 router, right? You've got to make sure, if you've got a very basic router and only can take in like 100 and you just upgrade your service to 200 or 300 or 500, you got to make sure that your router can handle that capacity. If it doesn't, well, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? You just wasted your money. You might have a more stable connection, but you're not going to be able to handle any more bandwidth. Ladies and gentlemen, I am John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur. It has been an amazing privilege, pleasure, and honor to be with you this fantastic evening. I hope you will definitely like, love, support my content. Remember to go to the QR code. You can see it on my hat as well. And when you do that, go to the very bottom of my TikTok channel. Make sure you check that out because we want to get over 1,000 followers on TikTok. And I need your help to do this because once we reach 1,000, you know what's going to happen? We're going to be able to stream live, not only to Instagram and to LinkedIn, but we're going to be able to stream live to TikTok. So let's just review a little bit about what we talked today before I wrap up with you. First thing is we learned today is it's a journey through the digital cosmos, right? Our world. And it's basically series 3. These are the 3rd year. And we are on show number 9. We talked about unlocking the future of security with MIT's Terahertz cryptographic ID tags, right? Then we moved into talking about recyclable water batteries. They won't catch on fire. They're going to be more green friendly. And they're probably going to be cheaper too and easier to produce. Then we went on to talk about the magic behind the true one-way glass, right? With the different polymers. I think this is amazing. The metamaterials. So when we start to realize that we can put our building blocks together in a different way, we're able to create different things. How many of you remember having an erector set, or whether it was Capsella or whatever it was, right? If you put the blocks together one way, it built something. If you put them together another way, it built something else. Well, ladies and gentlemen, and one last thing I want to share with you is we talked about charging quickly and lasting longer because scientists have developed batteries that require less rare materials. Ladies and gentlemen, I am John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur. It has been an amazing privilege, pleasure, and honor to be with you this fantastic evening. I hope you'll like, love, support the channel. Comment below, tag this out with everyone you know. I'm going to catch you guys real soon for the next JMOR Tech Talk Show, which will be on March 8th. Have yourself an amazing rest of your night. I'll catch you real soon, everyone. Okay? Be well.